There are 5 candidates on the ballot October 16th in the 5th Congressional District race for the seat vacated by Marty Meehan. One of them is independent candidate Kurt Hayes, and he joins us now. Welcome, Kurt.
Nice to be with you again.
Nice to see you. Yeah, we were together last week. I moderated a debate with the League of Women Voters,
right.
And one of the things you said at that debate was that this race in the 5th is a referendum on the failed two-party system. How so?
Correct. Well, I think that's one of the reasons I joined this race, is that over the past many years I've seen the escalation of that partisan war in Congress, that it's gotten to the point that they're more interested in beating up the other side than doing the business of the American people, and I think that's what so many folks are frustrated with. So rather than just being a referendum on the war in Iraq, as Nikki says, or a broken Congress, as Jim says, it really is, I think, in the eyes of the voter, time to make a statement in their mind about how these two parties are failing them.
Well, but I mean, only 4% of the voters say that they are undecided in the 5th District, and the vast majority of those are going to either the Republican or the Democrat.
Right.
How do you
referring to that poll that was done right after the primaries? Yeah, I think that was indicative of the fact that my name recognition wasn't out there. I think I have been building momentum. I look forward to seeing a poll after, say, the debates that'll be on TV Friday. And possibly next Tuesday.
Do you think there'll be one?
There'll be one on TV. Oh, another poll?
Yeah.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
But I'm not basing my candidacy on what the polls are showing, and certainly not on how much money I can raise. It's really about giving the voters an alternative, an independent voice who I think is squarely between the two parties. And I've committed, and I talked to the voters about how I'm going to go there to Washington to represent you and serve you rather than serving one of the political parties, which is how we got where we are.
All right, well, let's talk about a few things. You're opposed to a troop withdrawal in Iraq. Right now, an immediate one.
Right. I think it would be irresponsible. The talk is, let's get out in 6 months, and I think that's irresponsible. When we do pull out the surge troops, because they're out there living among the people, and I think that's what's provided some of the security, is that we need to have the Iraqi troops ready to take their place and keep that security rather than creating a vacuum. So maybe we talk about timetables down the road when General Petraeus reports again, but I think it's irresponsible to say right now, let's have them all out in 6 months.
And where would you have stood on President Bush's essentially amnesty plan for immigrants?
For me, right, with illegal immigration, I think it starts and ends with the fact that laws were broken. I would not have supported that bill. We need to enforce the current laws for those that are here illegally, as well as for the employers who are hiring and exploiting them.
And what would you do about the ones that are here now?
I think we're not going to form, troops to hunt them down, but when they are encountered by the system, such as the police, they're going to, because they're outside the system, they need to be turned over to the proper authorities, like we do if there's a person who shows up in a wanted database in another state. The police don't let them go. They turn them over to the proper authorities. So it will eventually, reduce that problem, and if you're prosecuting the employers, that's going to reduce the demand as well.
On health care, you oppose any kind of a universal plan, but as long as it's in the private sector, it's going to leave massive groups of people out.
Right. My stance on that, I think, is fairly similar to Nikki's, is I would like everyone to have medical, health insurance, and as much of that be private as possible. But we do have the need for some subsidized insurance. I mean, there's a big thing with the S-chip veto and things like that. So there is
Where do you stand on that, the S-chip?
I would help override President Bush's veto as it stands right now. I also am concerned when we start making it so that people who can afford private insurance are going to move over to the federal program. But I think some of the provisions that President Bush is concerned about, this idea of $80,000 for a family of 4 was taken out. So I am in favor.
He's also concerned about the potential for vast abuse once you start putting that kind of money into the system, and it won't just be for children, and it won't be for needy people. Everybody will get a piece of the pie.
Well, I think if we talk about waste and inefficiency, I think that's one of the overarching things that I want to go attack when I go to Washington is we know there's a lot of waste and inefficiency there, so we need to attack that as opposed to always throwing more money at the problems.
All right. As an independent, how would you describe your politics?
Well, I think, again, I'm truly between the parties. As you've seen, there are some issues. I think I'm for the idea of smaller government as much as possible, but I don't always say lower taxes. We do need to have enough tax to do the things that the government needs to do to provide those key services. So a little bit, and the area of personal responsibility when I talk about things like I support Pell Grants and subsidized health insurance where needed, but there also needs to be personal responsibility in there. If you're going to get the subsidized health insurance, you need to go get physicals and get your immunizations, the things that we know will help prevent, people showing up in the emergency room down the road.
All right. Now, I mean, this is a gutsy move for you. You've taken a leave of absence from your job. What will you do if you don't win this?
Well, if I don't win this, I don't know where the road. I've met so many people and grown so much, I don't know where the road will take me. It could go right back to my desk at IBM, but I really am feeling a groundswell of support out there when people do meet me and get to know me. They are so fed up with things. All I ask them to do, compare me side by side with the other candidates. And if you find me to be competent and trustworthy, you like where I am on the positions, give me the one-year chance, the honor to represent you for 1 year. And if I don't do a good job, because this is a one-year term.
It's a 2-year term. Oh, that's right. This is one. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, give me 1 year. And then in November of 2008, if I haven't represented you well, I'm confident I will. If I haven't represented you well in 1 year, go back to voting for Democrats or Republicans. But this is really a rare opportunity for the people of the 5th to do something different.
All right. Kurt Hayes, good luck to you.
Thank you very much.